Today, we will be talking about spaced versus massed practice. Particularly, we will be focusing on the benefits of spaced practice for students with ADHD. When looking for interventions to use in the classroom, it is important to look for evidence-based practices that are beneficial to all students and will help create an equitable environment for students with disabilities.
After watching this video, you should be able to summarize the research supporting the effectiveness of distributed or spaced practice, list the benefits of using distributed practice in the classroom for all students, and know concrete strategies for implementing spaced practice in the classroom.
Spaced practice gained popularity when memory research was done in the late 19th century, showing that new information is forgotten extremely quickly and is less likely to be remembered as time passes. This may seem like common sense, but there are still many instances of mass practice that can be found in today's schools.
The key to retaining information is not the amount of time spent practicing, but the sessions of rehearsal that move the information from short-term memory to long-term memory. This is true for all students and needs to be a practice that is part of a successful classroom. It is even more imperative for students with ADHD to have spaced opportunities for practice so they can experience success alongside their peers.
A more recent application of spaced practice is the spaced interval repetition technique, which the Illinois Department of Education recommends as a highly effective practice to use with students with ADHD. This SIR software can be used for any type of memorization, but is particularly useful for learning discrete pieces of information like dates, definitions, and formulas.
The software has a self-monitoring component that allows the user to rate their recall abilities and personalizes what information needs to be reviewed more frequently. Some recommended SIR websites are listed here.
One of the most important aspects of spaced practice is that it can be used on its own or combined with other programs or interventions to address both academic and behavioral goals.
For example, self-monitoring programs using spaced practice techniques could increase engagement and on-task behavior in the classroom. This could be done through the students' use of a timer to stay on track of scheduled breaks and monitor their work.
Another strategy that uses spaced practice is pairing desirable and less desirable activities throughout the lesson. This allows students to have smaller instances of the less desirable activity while incorporating these more desirable activities as a break in the learning.
One of the easiest ways to incorporate spaced practice principles into your classroom is to schedule time for regular review sessions each day. By spreading the learning out through review over several days, weeks, or even months, this helps to solidify the learning in the student's mind, and it could also be a fun time that students look forward to every day.
Another thing to keep in mind when developing your larger lessons is that the U.S. Department of Education recommends dividing work into smaller units for students with ADHD. This gives the students more manageable learning targets to focus on at one time. The same amount of content can be covered while still keeping the student's attention so that academic time can be used more efficiently.
Let's look at an example of how this would play out in an inclusive classroom. All students walk into the classroom and take their seats. They split into groups and do 20 minutes of reviewing two-step equations that they had learned the day before. After this review is finished, the student with ADHD takes a break that was indicated on his personal schedule, while the rest of the students transition into independent work at their desks. After the 10 minutes of independent work, the students come together as a class for 15 minutes of teacher-led instruction. Students then practice their multiplication facts with flashcards for the rest of the period in partners. The students who have difficulty paying attention use a timer throughout the math class so that they are constantly aware of how much time they have left in each portion of the class.
This shows spaced practice because different skills are practiced throughout the class period, showing that the learning of each is spread across multiple days. By breaking apart the class into different sections, there is flexibility for the teacher to promote fluency of basic concept and allow students to take breaks when they are needed.
There are endless opportunities for incorporating spaced practice into the classroom. It is important to remember this basic principle when making the most of other interventions that you incorporate.
For more information regarding spaced practice, please visit the following resources.